All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to episode number 56 of my weekly GEMP game review series. Let's get rid of Batman here. I am your host, Chris Gogolin. Thank you for joining us on this Monday evening, the 1st of July. Tonight's show, we will recap the June OCS standings, check out what's going on in the old GEMP lobby, and look at a game review that we've got set up from one of the greatest players of all time. Sorry, just getting caught up here on stuff. Taking on one of our show's most loyal fans. So, let's get started. Oh, you know what? Let me do this thing too. Let everybody know. Okay. So, taking a quick peek here. Looks like there's just a couple casual games going on right now. See if there's any. Has anybody played other than? Oh yeah, looks like Zlorfik jumping off to a big start with a quick 3-0 for the month. A couple guys have played 2 games. Myself, Joe, Steve, Tom all picked up wins. And a couple of people have their first loss of the month. Not too many games played so far in the first day. Just curious always to see who's going to jump out early and get that going. June finished up. Congratulations to Ototoy, also known as Eric Hunter, for going 12-0. He gets to join the exclusive club of people who have gone 12-0 in a month of the OCS. Followed up by Charlie Arlinson here with an 11-1 finish. Came down to the wire with these guys. Charlie, Pistone, and Angelo. They were all like 9-1 with just a couple games left to play each. And then I think Pistone lost and he was 9-2. So he was kind of hoping the other guys might lose as well. He won his last game to get the 10-2. Angelo lost his last game. And then it was kind of down to Charlie, who managed to pull out the win. Whether it was going to come down to, for that third spot, whether it was going to be a tie for win percentages, if that was going to end up having to break it. They were all dark side with what their games they had left, so they couldn't play each other. And congrats to both of these guys for advancing and moving on up. Checking out the old. There's some other great months in here for everybody else. 10-2s, a couple of 9-3s. Congrats to everybody on another well-played month. I don't know what the June foil will be yet. We will find that out soon. Looks like I have to do this, though. I think I have to renew my Twitch Prime subscription. Please hold. I guess not. Maybe not yet. Oh, not till next week. Okay. If you haven't renewed your Twitch Prime subscription yet, be sure to click that big purple button in the top left. If not, you'll find out when your renewal date is. Don't forget to continue doing those to get those foils. We also have some upcoming major events. Thank you very much, Ryan Sersson, for doing just that. 9 months, 9-month streak. Congratulations on that. Always a fun and impressive thing to see just how long you can get that streak going. Only 3 more months away from the 12-month bonus. What is the 12-month bonus? I don't even remember. Let's go look in the old announcements. Twitch subscription incentive. 12 months. Oh, it's a map foil. Front and back slips objective. Plus an exclusive orange Twitch poker chip. only 3 more months away, and we'll start be sending those out. Just probably just after Worlds, then I guess. People should be hitting that goal in October, November. Should have your 12-month subscription streaks going, or at least until the end of the year, because it says retroactively starting from January. But so just a couple more months, and we'll start giving out some map foil slips. That sounds pretty cool. We'll see if map undergoes any changes between now and then, because I'd hate to print these and then have the objective have any changes made to it. I don't anticipate map having many changes to it. It seems like it's kind of settled into its strong spot, but not quite overpowered now that Imperial Supply has been restricted on the shield. It has been countered, shall we say, by the defensive shield adjustment. So that's what's going on there. July, like I said, is off and running. Still time to sign up for July. Still have another 2 weeks if you are a month-to-month player. You just pay your $10 and you can join us in the OCS. And you can get your games in, and you can get your foil slips, and you can take your shot at trying to qualify, trying to go 11-1 or 12-0. You don't necessarily have to go 12-0. 11-1 definitely almost always gets you a qualification spot. 10-2, you're kind of in the mix. Yep, foil map, awesome. That should be a very cool thing to see printed up. So excited about that. Other things we have coming up soon. European Championship, just 10 days away, a week and a half here. So if you are in Europe and you want to play some competitive Star Wars, head to Amsterdam. Like I really have to twist your arm to go to Amsterdam, right? That should be a fun time for these guys. What do we got? List of attendees, almost 30 players. Yeah, there's 27 on the list right now. A couple guys not playing because they're running it, but they should get about 30 players at that event, which should be a pretty awesome time. I don't know if we'll have any live streaming coverage of that. Probably not. Wi-Fi situation in Europe is not as comprehensive as it is in America, so getting internet coverage in the various locations is not always the easiest thing to do. We'll certainly check. I will check with Mr. Menzel and see if he has any possible plans to stream that. My guess is going to be no, but maybe we can get some live Facebook updates and stuff from the guys at the venue, at least in between rounds. Get some screenshots of the tournament software and the pairings and stuff, so we can keep up to date and see what kind of goofy decks and people are using up. This will be the last big event under set 10's banner before set 11 is released. We've had a number of spoilers so far from set 11. Many of them are scattered throughout here. We had some spoilers on the show not too long ago. It was 2 weeks ago, I think we did that with the Dark Jedi lightsabers and the light side Jedi lightsaber. A handful of other spoilers, and we should be getting the full card list that same weekend, I think. So right around here for the European Championship, we should be getting the preview list. If Chris Kelly is watching, he can confirm that, but I think that's kind of the target date to at least get the list out, and then we'll see the PDF by August 1st. If you're new to the game, here's a good time to go to the you got the new player guidelines section, you got the GEMP section, and the resources. You can find out about local tournaments. It is regional month, that time of year for summers. Tatooine Regional coming up here in Colorado. Wisconsin States was just yesterday. They had 22 players at Wisconsin States, which is pretty amazing for a state championship. See if they posted the final standings. Yeah, look, we got there. Oh, 22 players. 6 from Wisconsin and 16 who drove over from Minnesota. So it's good to be next to a populated area, even if you're not in one yourself. That's a pretty cool trophy, though. Little karate guy kicking everybody's butt. That's pretty awesome. Thanks, Ming, for hosting that event and running it and getting everybody together. Dennis Reinhardt went 6-0. And then you had some other guys going 5-1. And some other people all the way down. 22 players. Awesome. And he looked so happy. guess that's as high as Dennis can kick. But there are other coming up events. You've got Dagobah Regionals. That's down south, Georgia. Dagobah is Alabama, Georgia, Florida. So that's going to be in Atlanta, along with Georgia State's. Bothaway Regionals was just held not too long ago. That was in Nebraska. Um, you can go to the tournament season and application section here, and you can find out about all the other upcoming events. This is what you need to do to run an event, and then you look at the list here. These are in numerical order. Knock it off. Sorry. Cat's clawing at the carpet. Montana State's looks like it's being postponed. You got New Jersey State's coming up this Sunday if you're in the Northeast and you want to play some competitive Star Wars. Coming out to northern New Jersey July 7th. And then, like we said, we got Colorado here. And then you've got Atlanta here at the end of the month. I know if you're on the East Coast and you're down south, they are looking to schedule North Carolina States and Virginia States, as well as the Yavin 4 Regional. Those will all events will probably be taking place scattered throughout August. We had California States here. I know they're going to get their regional in out west. I'm sure there will be something going on in Seattle. Whether it's Washington States or Endor Regionals, whatever they decide to do up there, they usually put together an event. And then, of course, we still have to get whatever region of Minnesota is. I'm drawing a blank right now. Bespin, because it's very cloudy up there because of all the snow. So yeah, so they need. It should be Hoth, but Hoth is Canada. So their regionals, I'm sure, will be getting scheduled soon, and as well. Get some more people, some vouchers so they can make the trip back to Minnesota, to Minneapolis for the next upcoming major event, the John Anderson Memorial Tournament, also known as North American Continentals. If you haven't signed up for this one, I highly suggest you do it soon. Otherwise, you may miss out on tickets to the baseball game that we're all planning on going to on Friday night. You can read more about all of the information here with the event schedule and all the different swag and stuff. Well, I don't have an event schedule up yet. But there is more details here. Here it is. The group outing to the Twins game on Friday night that we'll be doing instead. Getting the tickets together. We do have to order those in the next week or so. So you really only have a few days left. Otherwise, you can come play Star Wars, and we'd love to have you. You can buy your own ticket to the game, but you will unlikely be sitting with us in the big group that we're getting together right now. I think we have about 15 people going to the baseball game Friday night, which should be cool in itself. I mean, I personally don't really care much about baseball these days, but you go to a game with 15 people, you have a overpriced hot dog and a $12 pretzel, and you have a good time with everybody. Tonight's beverage is brought to us by Royal Farms. I've been trying to get Chick-fil-A to sponsor me for a few weeks now. They have not responded, so I went and got chicken from somewhere else. We'll see how they like that. So that's what's coming up here in other events going on. Still don't have much in the GEMP lobby to watch or spectate, so we will come back to that. Looks like someone's trying to get an OCS game going. So we'll pop in to that in a little bit. We will jump over to our featured game of the week. This one is between loyal fan of the show, Sean Dixon, and the man he referred to as the GOAT in his description, Zlorfik, two-time world champion, Star Wars CCG Hall of Famer, Bastian Winkelhaus. Bastian, Johnny, kind of a coin toss between both. I guess it depends on who you ask. They both, we'll call it a tie because they're both amazing, and he'd be hard-pressed to find anybody on the planet who can duplicate their results. So, we've got Court being played by Sean. I don't know why I clicked that one. It's the wrong button. Being played by Sean, taking on Diplo, being played by Bastian. And this looks like a typical Court Scum. Not a deck we feature too often. I looked back through the list. We've had Court on the show 3 times in 55 episodes, so that's a pretty good ratio. So we'll go for number 4 here. Oh, he had guts. Well, this is certainly going to make this matchup a little bit more lopsided. So, what does Guts do? You've got a lot of Guts coming here. Deploy on table, Unique Rebels, ability equal 3, which Diplo has like 7 or 8 that it can consistently play to get a good benefit out of. Power and forfeit +1. So anywhere, the power +1, forfeit +1. So you've got Leia, you've got Jin, you've got Lando, you've got Owen and Beru, possibly people like Saw Gerrera, a few other guys. Mon Mothma, I think, is ability 3. So there's a number of guys that consistently, possibly Wedge, that you can find in a Diplo deck that will meet that Rebel ability equal 3, General Solo, if that's the general you went with, or Crix. So yeah, there's a number of guys out there that you can use this for. The other thing too is that they have any power and forfeit +2 if they're at Cloud City or Jabba's Palace sites. A lot of times Diplo decks will, some Diplo decks will run the interior sites, like they'll play the Cantina and Jabba's Palace, the interior ones, whether it's the Audience Chamber or the Antechamber, which is a drain -1. And then that way they can take advantage of this even when they're not playing against Scum. Plus, they also get to the interior sites. They stay away from the walkers that are prevalent in things like ROPS or Imperial Entanglements, those kinds of decks, ISB. But the kicker of this card here is, while Han at a battleground, opponent retrieves no force from Scum and Villainy. Ouch. You still get the deploy minus, but you don't get the retrieval. And that's kind of what Scum needs to be successful. And if you're playing strike planning with this, then you're probably running General Solo, and then General Solo probably ends up as a pilot on the Tantive, where he's a lot harder to get rid of. Yeah, we've seen variations of this deck. The typical just playing your standard guys and just taking the extra power and forfeit bonus where you can. And then we've seen the Jedi Presence beatdown version, where you're just stacking up ability 3 guys who all become power 7, power 8. And, then you slow down an EPP Obi with them and Jedi Presence and double their power. And you get like 50-something power pretty easily with just 4 or 5 dudes. Does not happen very often. We don't see that one quite as much as we did when Diplo kind of first came out. People have more adapted to the standard, just kind of spread out and play some of the best guys and not necessarily try and go for all the tricks, because Diplo is pretty good without all those tricks. Taking on the stereotypical Scum start, wipe, Jabba's Haven, and the battle plan first strike combo. Let you battle for free, makes them pay for their interrupts, makes them pay for their drains early, because you're not really paying a drain, you're just kind of going to battle most of the game. So, and he's also seems to have the new Thrawn, who can help protect his ships from getting shot down by cannons, but more importantly, possibly doing some direct damage with this movement text. But otherwise, he's just a pretty good deploy ratio kind of guy. He's a 2/6 in Scum. Ability 3, who adds 3 to the power of anything he's piloting, which is pretty good. And he's an alien leader, so Jabba's space cruiser, I believe, can pull him. All right. So it'll be a slow start for Sean here. He's gonna grab a docking bay. We'll see if Nal Hut is in there. It probably is. So what I wanted to do is to pause this right here for a second. So, all right, so we look at the deck and we try and figure out what ships he's got here, because it's tempting to go try and interact to beat up the Tantive turn 1, especially before your opponent can really do anything and get set up. And it kind of depends on what you have for a ship package and what you can do with it. With 7 force, that's all he's working with, is just 7. You do battle for free because of battle order. Ellis and Hinthrow would be 4, and then you can pull Woof if he happens to be in there, which I don't see him. Nope, no woof. Um, Woof will cost you 2 more. That's 6. Then you can battle for free. And then you've got 7 power and a battle destiny. Not always the best way to go, especially against attentive, because it kind of depends now on what they're using over here. If they have this R2, D2, and C3PO combo, well, he forfeits for 7. He just goes down to the site, and they just shuttle him right back up next turn. It really just makes them use a force. Plus, they can also load up a couple pilots on their turn and come after you. Not usually worth the risk. If it's the regular R2, which we've seen some people start in these days to get the extra force icon and to try and set up some other shenanigans, um, that one might be worth going after turn 1 with a ship just to try and get rid of him and get him off the table, and then make them struggle to find an extra character to go deploy and pick up the tapes, and then come up back up to here. In this particular case, I wouldn't risk going to space and having to deal with that. I would just pull Nal Hutta, grab Jabba and Scum, and then you've got Greedo in your hand all ready to deploy as a react if they bother coming to you. Plus, you have a stunning leader if you need to get yourself out of a battle. So I think you're pretty set there, and probably just draw a card or two and take it easy for turn 1. No need to get overly aggressive here right off the bat. See if you can find one of those accelerates for that bridge remaining in your 3 force. Pick up a character or 2, never hurts. You've got Wipe Them Out, which will let you activate a force. Plus, you also have the ability to Dark Time to activate a force if necessary. So you still could, let your opponent deploy. You'll activate one with Wipe, so then you could barrier them if necessary. And then if you needed another force, if they somehow canceled it, you could have Dark Time and then still deploy Greedo as a react for that extra force, because he's deploy -1 because of Scum. Get Mon Mothma, get Chandrilla out. Pretty standard stuff from Diplo. He had a second ship, so he's going to do the first turn complete. General Solo as a pilot. He does have to lose a force from court. So the objective here says each player loses 1 force at end of each of their deploy phases unless they have a non-droid character at a Tatooine battleground site. So at the end of your deploy phase, before you move anybody around, you have to lose a force if you don't have a guy at a Tatooine site. Okay, so we've got Tantive here with Solo and Mothma on it and the droids. You'll see Tantive move away for free over to here. Then he'll ship dock, move the droids to the Bright Hope. Maybe not this turn. Okay. He's just going to set up a Chandrilla and stay pat for a turn, not risk anything. But what you do, so that will eventually you probably see, or you could see, is then the droids will move over here, the ship will move to Alderaan, complete the plans, and then it'll just move back out. Now he's got the Ellison Hinthra, and now he's going to go to Tatooine. I like this play better. Wait till they move away, then go back. Now he's got 2 ships committed to Chandrilla. Now you've got a drain of 3 here, actually, because the Ellison Hinthra adds an icon. And he's going to add Zuckuss. He adds Zuckuss. I don't know that that's necessary. I probably would have kept Zuckuss in hand, kept him back. Again, you've got the barrier. You're decent power and forfeit with Ellison Hinthra. It's 7 power. It's immune to less than 5. And you've got Woof, who subtracts 1 from each destiny draw. Plus a Dark Time in your hand to subtract 1 more if necessary. I probably would not have deployed Zuckuss. I would have kept him back a little bit. I would have drawn a couple more cards just to try and keep a. I mean, he's got 11 in hand now, but I probably would have drawn 1 or 2 more, kept 1 or 2 more cards in my force pile, and kept Zuckuss back just so I could react with him later. Thank you, Mr. Werfs, for month number 2 for renewing your subscription. We were talking about you earlier. None of it was good. No, just kidding. Okay, so he is playing Jabba's Palace. Oh, here's one we don't see very often. The light side, Jabba's Palace. If you occupy with an alien, Boshuda is cancelled. When deployed, lose 1 for each of your Jabba's Palace sites that you do not occupy. So he doesn't occupy the prison, so he has to lose a force, and he top decks IG from the reserve deck. Jabba's Palace site gives him that power forfeit +2. Also gives him the ability to play Fallen Portal. Don't forget that. If you're at a docking bay or the back door or Jabba's Palace and they initiate battle, you can play Fallen Portal and, especially in this matchup, very easily pick off a number of their guys. There's the spiral. Okay, so he has a 3rd ship now. I guess we'll see the droids move over to the spiral. And then move that over to Alderaan. Oh, he is going to send the droids to the Bright Hope after all. What's the hyperspeed on the Bright Hope? Just 4. He'll complete the plans. Because rebels control a site and a system, he flips his objective. And he gets to go get any card he wants when he completes the plans out of his reserve deck. And now he's going to split up his ships. And Sean's going to play Firepower. His opponent will respond with Ultimatum. Okay, so he's getting to a 3rd battleground here to make this drain of 3 become a drain of 2. He did not pull aim high, though, so he does let his opponent retrieve a force from the Firepower. I guess he's banking on the fact that Han's going to be okay for a while aboard the Tantive, and he won't get the extra retrieval from Scum, so therefore he won't need aim high anytime soon. But let's see. Diplo says your total battle destinies plus X, number of battlegrounds occupied by rebels of ability less than 4. So right now he's only adding 2. He's got Raddus here, he's got Solo and Mothma here. Raddus is another ability 3 guy, though, so he'll get an extra +1 forfeit, which sometimes does actually make a difference because Raddus only being immune to less than 4 is equivalent to Ozzel in that way. Often does, dark side draws a 5 and you have to lose Raddus and the ship. So then you got Commander Luke in his speeder, which will draw 2 destiny. Also happens to be at the Dune Sea, which requires 6 or more ability. So that's going to require Scum to pile multiple guys together to get battle destiny here and take this on, which could also be very challenging. Bastion has to lose 2, plus 1 more in the audience chamber. Top decks the Profundity, so there goes his 4th ship. Sean's going to get his other docking bay out. He's going to have to be careful now if he goes for a ship with his objective. I don't know how I feel about this. He's reinforcing an audience chamber that his opponent has shown him with the speeder and Commander Luke. He's unlikely to want to go to. Plus, again, he still has the Stunning Leader, Barrier, Greedo situation. Forlom also adds a destiny when he's with Zuckuss, so he might be more useful up here. I don't know how much use he's going to get out of him here, and I feel like this is just a Sean panicking a little bit and feeling like he doesn't know what his opponent's going to do next, so he's just going to try and reinforce everywhere. And he's going to end up over deploying a little bit more than is necessary. Hey, we get Balatik. That's a guy we don't see all that often. What does he do? He's a pilot. He's an alien leader. He adds 2 to power. While with Han, he can't add Battle Destiny draws. He can't play interrupts from the lost pile. While at opponent's battleground, opponent may not cancel or reduce your force drains here. They can still reduce the force loss, so ultimatum does still work, and we'll still cap this at 2, but they can't control tunnel vision to cancel the drain. They can't projection of a Skywalker or anything like that. That would subtract from the drain. Han doesn't add Battle Destiny draws or play interrupts from the lost pile, so that would kind of hinder some of the other Hans, particularly Solo. Doesn't really have much to do with the general there. And now he's deploying Jasper to the audience chamber as well, which again feels unnecessary. I feel like he's just getting cards out of his hand because he wants to be able to draw more cards. And I feel like he's just over deploying unnecessarily. Like, these 2 guys will be much better off somewhere else. You look at your opponent, he's only got 6 cards in hand right now. I mean, put Jasper here. You've got a barrier. You've got a Gick. What are you really all that afraid of? Go here. Try and get an extra drain. Try and make him move this speeder off of this site. Maybe he'll move over and then you'll battle him and then you'll walk right into a fallen portal. But Jasper's a little harder to get because he's defense value plus for each icon there. So he's actually defense value 5. And Diplo does typically run a lot of characters and stuff, so they're drawing lots of 2s and 3s all the time. I feel like Sean's playing this game a little scared. He realizes that he's up against a world-class caliber player who's playing a little bit more of a deck he's not as familiar with, and he's just trying to play it safe. He's trying to play it very safe. Certainly an understandable approach. Maybe not always the correct one, though. Now we're going to get an Owen and Baru to the farm. And this is where light side is just going to start to spread out now and kind of dare dark side to do something. Commander Nara. He draws a card. Ray draws a card off the bottom. So he did have a couple characters, but again, still not anybody I would have been overly afraid of. I mean, yeah, they're more power at the... Well, Owen and Baru would have been 6 power. But what would he have? At best case scenario, what has he got there? 12. Jasper's got decent power and forfeit. Forfeits for a bunch because of the extra from his text and the objective. And again, worst case scenario, you could have always kicked it. Then you come back over the top and counterbeat with like Boba Fett and Cad Bane and B-59. It was to play Greedo as a reactive necessary too. So Solo, Ray, Mothma moving back over to Tatooine to block the drain there, and then he'll fortify and consolidate Chandrilla. Well, looks like we got an opportunity for Boba Fett and possibly Cad Bane or Greedo to show up here in space, try and draw some multiple destinies. You do have to worry about the Rebel leaderships, though. Rebel leadership is going to be a problem here. With Radis and General Solo, I would expect to see 2 or 3 leaderships in this deck. And those are not very good destiny draws for Darkseid. That's a bunch of characters and whatnot. Blast Door Controls is a very good card, especially in this particular matchup. Cancels in this particular, most cases, it's Rebel Barrier. It's just a great static Rebel Barrier canceller. Occasionally, you will pick up some other cards like Narrow Escape or Blast the Door Kid. Blast the Door Kid probably more with because it requires interior sights. You see that more often in things like QMC. But Narrow Escape is a deck that a lot of, especially the European builds of Diplo, like to run because it requires rebels of ability greater than 2, which you have quite a few of in the deck. So you get to move guys away as a react, and it's a used 5, which makes it a little bit more reusable and a bit better efficiency of a card than something like Dodge. Also doesn't require you to be alone, so even if you only have to, if you have 2 or 3 guys together and they come down in battle, you if you have the force, you can move them all away. So we're going to get a P59. I would absolutely grab that leadership. He didn't grab it. He takes Kraken. There's Boba Fett up in space. He right now is just with an alien. He needs to be with a bounty hunter. There we go. Now he gets a second one. Get a Might of the Republic. That'll get a Bail Organa or a Leia Organa. Gets a Bail Organa. And we're going to get a Cad Bane going after an Owen and Baru. 4 force left. Can't retrieve for initiating battles, but he can battle for free in all these spots, so he can do some site clearing. Battle, draw Destiny. Draws one of his best Destinies there on the ground. And that'll clear out Owen and Baru. Now there was something interesting. He drew Anakin, which is just a 1. Cad Bane's not immune to any attrition, so your first thought is, well, he could just play a Dark Time and subtract 1. However, the Diplo objective would still add to the total, even if the Destiny is 0. So he's still going to get 1, 2, 3, 4 added to his total. So even if you subtracted 1 with the Dark Time, he'd still have a total Battle Destiny of 4, and he'd still have to lose Cad Bane. So don't take the bait on that. A lot of people get excited and they see the GEMP pop up and they're like, yeah, I'll just play that and make his Destiny 0. And it's like, but it's Diplo. It doesn't work like that. And Darkseid ends up losing this battle, so Lightside gets to retrieve a character, retrieve a card, and they get Cassian back. This is once per turn, not per battle. If you just want to battle, may retrieve a force. A lot of people misread that, and they think it's once per battle, so they, battle in 4 different spots and win 4 different battles, and they retrieve a card every time, and that would be playing the card incorrectly. P59 taking a shot. He should be pretty solid to hit here, and he is. Even with some of those characters in the deck, most of them are 2s and 3s. I think there was still at least like a Prince or an IG, so there was still at least a 1 floating around in there, so he could have missed. That'll cause 2 force loss. Does not make forfeit 0, though, so no additional overflow expected here. Okay, so there's one of those ones we were just talking about with the Prince. And Lightside draws their Destiny, so we get a Sovrip. Okay. See, Lightside wins another battle, but this time they don't get to retrieve. But this lack of retrieval is going to hurt Darkseid, though, because that's kind of what their whole deck is sort of predicated on, is initiating battles, retrieving the guys that you lost from the previous battles. And not being able to do any of this retrieval is certainly hurting them a little bit doesn't battle in space. Interesting. He puts down Greedo, he puts down Boba Fett, and he doesn't battle. He would have gotten 3 Battle Destiny there. I mean, I know his destinies aren't great. He's already drawn some of the better ones, so maybe he's just waiting for a better opportunity to find something that he can feel a little bit more comfortable with before he has to start losing stuff of his own. But that would have been a very good time uh, to do it, to try and get rid of some people. He would have drawn 5, 2, 2, so he would have drawn 9, which would have only gotten rid of Solo. Okay, so there you go. I guess that makes sense. But now he's going to get Bail, who adds a second destiny. And now Lightside's going to dig in a little deeper. And this is where Darkside's going to start to fall behind a little bit. He's got Insurrection now to add to some people's forfeit. He does still battle. Weapons display is going to cause 2 force loss here for Bail getting excluded. And now we've got Anakin adding 1 to the draws and Rey adding 1 to the total. Plus he upped it by putting Kraken down. He gets his Diplo Destiny up an extra 1 as well. His modifier from the Diplo objective. So he's got an 8. 8 is exactly Boba Fett, so that works out pretty well. And Darkseid did shuffle their decks, so hopefully they'll get some better draws out of this. They would have had 8 or 9 as their total last turn. Really just want to try and get more than 7, because 7 is what the droids forfeit for. And you get exactly 7, so you're just getting a droid, which doesn't really change anything. And they get to retrieve a force for winning the battle. Getting back the character that they just lost. This is typically what Scum wants to do. They want to, retrieve their characters, and they're not going to be able to because of that Guts card. It's one very simple card that only fits in a handful of decks, but when it does, it really changes the matchup. Um, this QMC, some type of Tatooine CRV deck, whatever, are really oh, looks like we're changing something here. It's very curious. Bastion's usually a stickler for no reverts, so I'm curious what we're going to get differently here that he allowed the revert for. Yeah, we already saw these. We know what happens. He pays 1. He retrieves Nara and Darkseid. Unless he's going to keep Boba Fett, and he's going to lose Greedo and Balatik. Yeah. it's tempting to do that, and then you could just retrieve one of them with Jabba's Haven or whatnot. Yeah, you can't when you try and revert during battle. You can only kind of go back into the beginning of the battle basically. Um, Jesus, and he doesn't really let you play any additional actions. I don't know what they're trying to do here, but I don't know. We've seen these same Destiny draws like 4 times, so I don't know what they're trying to do because you don't have a chat log, so you can't see what they're talking to each other about. I feel like we're stuck in Groundhog Day here. All right, looks like whatever they were trying to do, they've either gave up on or figured it out and resolved it. Got some lower destinies left in the old reserve deck. He gets Cad Bane back. Cad Bane's not really the most helpful. I mean, he is another pilot. Not that this ship can really hold any more of them. It does have extra forfeit fodder. You can just stack up these 2 ships. See, this would be really helpful to have Forlom right now because you should be getting a second battle destiny up here. Um, and if you had done it the other way the turn before, you would have had 4 battle destiny instead of 3. Maybe you would have gotten more than just the R2 droids. So little things like that end up snowballing sometimes throughout the course of a game and really dictating the way the things unfold. So looks like he finally finds some more ships to work with. We got the space cruiser, we've got the Slave One and Django. But in the meantime, we're going to get some Bastion shuffles his reserve deck around. He did spend the 3 force to Walkling. It looks like he's going to get Tatooine Celebration now. Now he's going to up his retrieval game a little bit. Just casually throws away a Gick. And now we'll see him start just spread out just a little bit. He's got Leia, he's got Lando. He moves to Bright Hope over. He moves Luke over. So now he's got 4 sites, so he can retrieve up to 4 force potentially with the celebration. He's got Bright Hope, that's going to subtract from the attrition and total power of his opponent. And this is where Darkseid's inability to retrieve their characters and kind of redeploy them is going to end up coming back to bite them. They're going to start running out of stuff to use. So just a great counter card that just happens to be really difficult for one particular match, but it's not in there specifically for Scum. It does have other uses. The power and forfeit bonus do come in handy just naturally at your own locations and things like that. So Sean does make a good effort here, going to a couple different sites. He's got Zam. She draws by herself if unable to otherwise. Django adds a destiny when with a maintenance character, and then Bosk gives him a second battle destiny because of ability. So that'll be pretty solid there. But, I mean, Lando's forfeit 7. And he's power 7 and forfeit 8. So he's going to cover 15 plus his own destiny. Plus, he can't retrieve one because Secret Plans is out to add to his power. So that works out okay. The problem's going to be when Darkseid only has one character left there. We assume Bosk is going to die and Django's going to be stuck by himself. Five, six, 7, 8, 9. That's actually going to clear both characters because they forfeit for 7 and 8 respectively. So that actually might be a blessing in disguise a little bit there. Otherwise, it's certainly possible Django could have gotten roughed up a little bit by himself. Not too bad. I mean, again, he still has decent power and he forfeits for 8. So he was covering 12 by himself. But Lightside's draining for 3 a turn and retrieving 2 cards. So they are certainly going to continue to creep ahead in this game. Any thoughts on Endor Grand Prix versus NPC dates? I don't know there, Mr. Werfs. That is an excellent question. I will have to talk with Mr. Lingrel and see his thoughts and plans on that. Hopefully we can get you an answer in the next 2 weeks. That should still give you plenty of time to figure out possible NPC dates. I'm sorry, Endor Grand Prix dates, whether it's going to be in January or April again. Seemed like it worked out okay in January, right? And here come all the same characters all over again. Lando and Nara. Yeah. Now, Lightside's just finding themselves in a more unwinnable position here. Darkseid's, yeah. So they're doing 1 damage a turn while their opponent is retrieving 3 to 4 cards a turn. So the early damage that they got through is just going to end up getting retrieved back, which is kind of what Diplo does. It loses cards early, it puts a lot of cards on the table, and then it kind of stabilizes, and then it just starts to remove all of its opponent's stuff and control the game. And on the other side of the table, with Scum not being able to retrieve, it's really going to diminish their ability to their longevity, if you will, for the particular matchup. So he takes a shot, he misses. Dengar misses Nara. He shoots again. And he misses again. And I think that's going to be it. I would have conceded right there just out of spite. I'm like, all right, I was already losing. I wanted to do this one cool thing and just shoot this guy beforehand, but 3 ones in a row. Ouch. I haven't seen Destiny drawn that bad since Phil at the Endor Grand Prix 2 years ago. Doing the Boba Fett Ozzel Slave 1 against Diplo turn 1 trick with the Imperial Command to try and blow out Diplo and the Tantive. And he drew 3 ones, and they just laughed and lost R2 and the droids. Leave Grand Prix in January, one more year, see what attendance looks like for both. I think it sounds like a good idea. And I think if we can obviously book a solid date a little sooner for the MPC, give people plenty of notice on that, then we can also get a better room block and we won't be necessarily competing with Rutgers Day plus a possible, well, there's always going to be a dance competition. That's just inevitable. Um, I don't know how we'd luck out with that, but there's always dance competitions in New Jersey in April and May, and that's just, we always seem to find one of them. So now he's just going to land all his stuff, block some drains, and I think we can go ahead and call this game a win for Zlorfik. We're just going to fast forward here to the end because um, I have foreseen the ending of this game, and it ends with Zlorfik retrieving a bunch more cards and Dark Side slowly dying. Zlorfik's just running up his differential at this point. Don't play that yet. Let him retrieve more. There you go. Except it rounds down, so he retrieved 3 and he made him lose 1. Oh, Hera's with an Imperial. Wah, wah, wah. Zlorfik's got his own tricks up his sleeves. And he's got solid power and extra forfeit because they're at Jabba's palace. So Lando's an 8, Hera's a 6. That's 14 plus his big battle destiny there. 2 characters, 1 battle destiny. No, actually he drew 3 battle destiny. 2 characters, 3 battle destiny, total of 27. Pretty strong stuff. Love those dance moms, do you, Mr. Worfs? Okay. They are entertaining, that's for sure. And yeah, Sean's going to go ahead and throw in the towel and save us all the trouble of watching these last 2 turns and really just letting Zlorfik retrieve more cards. It's really what it's going to come down to. So yeah, suicide yourself, draw up, save your diff, live to fight another day. Thanks to Sean for submitting the game link and letting us see a different build of Diplo that he played against here, and obviously the guts and how it interacted. Not a card we get to see very often, but certainly one that's has a dramatic impact on a Scum matchup. I think Diplo is probably still slightly favored against Scum, but it's not as bad. With Scum retrieving its characters and going back and forth, you guys can kind of keep clearing each other off sites, and that kind of makes the game uh, kind of drags it out a bit longer. It makes it a lot more interesting. But with Guts, it very much more uh, heavily favors Diplo. So thank you very much for submitting that game link. We'll take a quick peek. Oh, hey, I got cards. Take a quick peek, see what's going on in the old GEMP lobby. I'm about to sneeze, so hang on a second. Okay, don't know where that came from. So it looks like some people waiting to play. There was something I was going to do, but I don't remember what it was now. Oh, I was going to open my packs. For those of you who don't know, when you finish high in leagues and things like that, you join all these little leagues, and when you finish in different positions, you get uh, packs of stuff, and you get your choice of what packs you want. The easiest way to do that is you go into the deck builder, and you go to the My Cards button up here, which Batmouse is eagerly hoping someday he will have a format for. And then you go to packs and boxes, and then you click this little button here. Depending on how high you finish, there are 2 different categories of choice packs. These are probably the more generic ones. Yeah. So The regular one has all of the base expansions for you to pick from, Premier through Seed Palace, and then the higher level for finishing in like the top five of a league, you get a different tier to pick from, which is all the reflections 1, 2, and 3 boosters. So it's a good way to get some foil cards and stuff like that. Let's open. Let's open a Death Star 2. I don't know. You guys have any suggestions? What do you want me to open? I got 4 choices here. I got 4 packs left to pick from. I will leave it up to you, the viewers. And while you guys decide, I'm going to take another drink of my tasty beverage, compliments of Royal Farms. He took too long. I'm going to open an indoor pack. What else? Yes, exactly, Mr. Werfs. In your honor, I'm going to open an indoor pack. Hoth. All right. Why not? You never know what you're going to get, right? Let's go with Coruscant. And last but not least, we'll open a Tatooine pack. All right, so we'll start with Hoth first. What did we get? Hey, not bad. We got a Hoth system. We got a Piet. O switch off. Certainly all possibly potentially playable cards in some type of weird My Cards format. But this is how you do it. You open some packs, and you get as you can see, the distribution is not fixed to the Decipher principles. So sometimes you'll end up with a pack that has a lot more light side cards than dark side cards. I know I've opened packs of Death Star 2 where every card has been light side, including the rare and whatnot, and you're just like, that's not really supposed to happen, but it does. Endor could get a foil potentially. Nope, no foil. Rapid Deployment. That's a great card turning into a virtual card and becoming the Endor Commando team, but by itself, not so great. Not much in here. I hope she's alright. It's not bad. Death Star 2 being next. Jedi Luke. Fighter cover. Okay. Colonel David. Not bad. Hobby ship. Captain Jonas. Yeah, some playable cards and characters and stuff. Currently, my cards have no special bonus or feature other than the fact that if you get 4 of a particular card, you can cash that in along with 15 gold, I believe, to turn it into a foil version. Then you can add the foil version into your regular constructed decks because you can mix the all cards and the my cards for your competitive decks, and then you can play with foil cards in your OCS matchups. We'll see if I have 4 copies of any cards. You forgot you have 164 packs to open. All right, well, that's going to take you a little while, Werfs, but at the end of the day, you should have some nice shiny foils. Plo Koon, okay. We got some Handmaidens. Handmaiden's Tale. Okay. And for those of you interested in how you make foils, I have a full-length video on this that's on my YouTube page, but we'll just cover it real quick here again. You go to the merchant, and usually I just do this, and you go to cards that you have owned or equal 4 or more, and then as long as you have enough gold, you can trade for a foil. Usually you want to find a card that you're very likely to play, to turn into a foil since it does cost quite a bit to do. I usually do my defensive shields first. Locations are also good ones, because especially ones that you start, like a Galactic Senate or something that you know is always going to be on the table, or something like Deep Hatred if you were playing combat or whatnot. Um, so there'd be a number of good stuff in here. Oh, hang on a second. Here we go. I feel the conflict. Let's get started in Hitco. So we can go to trade 4 for foil. Trade 4 plus 15 gold to get a foil version of that card. Yes. So there you go. I now have a foil version of I Feel the Conflict, which I can then add into my Hitco decks if I so chose. Okay, see? There you get new shiny foil card. Yay. So that's how that works. Okay, well, I think that's going to wrap it up for tonight. I'm a little tired out, and doesn't seem to be a whole lot going on. Seem people waiting for games and stuff like that. Just some fun games going on. Um, but thank you guys very much for joining and tuning in this week. I hope everybody has a great 4th of July. For those of you in America, any of you European players, happy Bastille Day coming up. You got your European Championships. That's what you're looking forward to. That's the important thing there. I think today was actually Canada Day, Canada's birthday, so happy birthday, Canada. Uh, yeah, and get yourself signed up for the North American Continentals if you haven't already. Get yourself over to the European Championships next weekend if you haven't signed up for that yet. And we'll see you back here next Monday night, 7 p.m., same bat time, same bat channel. Take it easy, guys. Have a good night.